Our first presenter post-restroom break is Tom Samuels. Tom is from Toronto, where he sang Yiddish songs in Jane Jacobs' living room. He is the original creator of North America's Safe Routes to Schools walking school bus programs, as well as numerous traffic calming projects. Tom currently works at a synagogue, striving to create meaningful and transformative experiences. Please welcome Tom.
Thank you. So we live in a society, in a world that's dysfunctional. Hybrid cars, even worms. I love worms. My kids love them. But it's dysfunctional. This is what our cities look like. 30 to 70%. In the city of Chicago, 50% of our land area is covered in infrastructure to move and store cars to the exclusion of all other user groups. Why can't we have this, where we have choices, modal choices? Oh, I should be looking there, right? We have modal choices, we have beauty, we have sustainable infrastructure, we have a society that works. Why do we have this, where until recently, the pedestrian in the middle there officially was called in all traffic engineering and planning literature a movable traffic obstacle. A tree, a fixed traffic obstacle. Why do we have this geography of nowhere? Why don't we have this? Why is this illegal to build in most of the United States? A sustainable, a livable, a sense of place, a community, a place with retail and mixed use, where you can actually engage with your physical environment. Why can't we have that? Why do we have this where we're passive consumers? We have no choice on how we live, how we move. Sure, we get a choice here, we get a Facebook here, we get a little bit of pseudo-technology, whatever you want to call it here, but the truth is, this is us, stuck in traffic, stuck in the traffic of our lives, dictated by others. Why can't we be co-creators? Why can't we create communities of meaning where we actually design to the final minutia, not only esoteric language of sustainability, but actually how we live, what our houses look like, why? And it all starts really with this. It starts with the most vulnerable in society. If we design our society, that means every aspect of how we live for that child who's walking at 2.1 feet per second, everything else comes together beautifully. And here's how. Scary graph. I know, I got a couple of them. This one here shows that actually when you design with less, you get more. When you have less speed, you have more safety. At 40 miles per hour, you get hit by a car, you die as a pedestrian. At 30 miles per hour, you survive. Here's another thing. We're told that we have to make a choice between pedestrian, livability, and the car. And we can't have it both. We have to make compromises. It's bunk. The truth is that if we design for slower cars, and this graph shows you at 30 miles per hour, if you design cars, the streets slower with less asphalt, move the cars slower, you move the cars more efficiently. So actually, by designing with less asphalt, you slow the cars, it's safer, you get more safety, and you get more efficiency, more effective use of the road space. Here's another thing. If you have less asphalt, you design with less asphalt, you get less stormwater runoff management issues. In the city of Chicago, that's $17 billion deep tunnel project simply to keep our beaches open. The number one reason why our beaches are closed in Chicago, the number one reason is stormwater runoff from the 50% of the land area covered in impermeable asphalt. It's dysfunctional and it doesn't have to be. So here's another thing. We're told that it's a matter of money. We need more money, right? More money for pedestrians, more money for bikes, more money for transit. That's also bunk. This case here, $5,000 in street paint. The street was reclaimed in first year, 15% increase in retail sales. That's a street in Brooklyn. This is a street in Chicago. The traffic light broke. It was going to cost $250,000 to rebuild the traffic light. $80 in stop signs. Traffic crashes went down and pedestrian volumes increased. Now here, I'll end with this project here, Marine Drive. A big, very important street in the north side of Chicago in Edgewater, Uptown area. Major density on one side, major access to the lakefront park on the other side, major bus route. As you can see, the bus is keeps its rear in traffic, and the cars go around it because there's an illegally parked car in the bus pull-in zone. A dysfunctional street. The city was going to go in, spend a couple $1 million, and actually widen the street. For what purpose? We know less is more. Here's what happened instead. A fraction of the cost by simply narrowing the street by 50%. We got rid of 50% of the asphalt. There was a net gain of, so that street was originally 30 feet across. Now it's 12 feet across. That car that you see parked over here, that used to be illegally parked. Now, because the curb was narrowed, the street was narrowed and the curb extended, that car is now legally parked. There was a net gain of 70 on-street parking spaces. Less asphalt, more parking. Also, less asphalt, the bus actually now dictates the flow of traffic. It doesn't have to turn in. The mountain comes to Muhammad. The sidewalk comes out to the bus. And people load and unload from the bus, and that taxi cab is not going to take a risk and come around and get schneidered. And here's what also happens. Less asphalt. The people started to use the street. There was a net increase in green space, huge amounts of green space, parking, and livability. By the way, housing prices skyrocketed on this street the year after the project was finished. So less is more. It's very doable. Thank you very much.